This is a quick demonstration of a patch I wrote for Blender a couple months ago at the request of someone from the Minnesota Blender users group. The patch is essentially a quick way to add a bunch of selected objects to a specific group. Previously in Blender there was a way to do that only through the active object. Which would mean that you could only add groups that were in the active object. You couldn't add groups from all the groups that were available in the blend file. Well, this patch adds two new operators, one to add the selected objects to a specific group, and then one to remove the selected objects from a specific group. I'm just going to demonstrate that quickly here. I have 5 objects. This object is only in this group. This object is in these two groups, and this object is in all groups. So for instance, say I wanted to add these 3 objects to this group right here. I could just go to the menu, and you can see I also have a key bound to Control-Shift-G, so we can use that from now on. But this is add selected to group, and it gives a list, a searchable list of groups in the blend file that you can add the selected objects to. So in this case I'm going to add it to this last group, and you can see here it's added 2 more objects to that group, which are this one and this one. I'm just going to do that quick. And then the other operator allows you to remove. So I have these same 3 objects. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3. I have the same 3 objects selected. Let's say I want to remove them from this first group. Go to group, remove selected from group. And this should give a list of objects. This isn't a good demonstration because all the groups are in here, but this should give a list of, groups that are in these 3 objects. Let me just redo that. I'm going to find one that. So now I only have these 2 selected, and say I want to remove them from the first group. In this case, since this object here, which is the only one in this group, isn't selected, we should only list this group and the second group there. So Control-G. So yeah, it only lists those 2 groups, and now I can click this group and it removes these 2 objects from this group. So that's just a quicker way, I think, of quickly adding selected objects to a single group. Like I said previously, you could do that, but you had to make sure that the group you wanted to add to was in the active object. It's a little confusing text here, add selected to active group. What they mean by active group is whatever object is active. For instance, this object is active right now. Well, I can actually demonstrate it here. This object is in only one group right now, and this object is in 3. If I select this one first, and then I shift select this one, now this object is active, the one here, and you can actually see this up here because it's showing this selection here as that object is being selected. But they're both selected, but this one in here in the center is active. And if I go to object group, add selective to active group, so it's going to pop up a menu, but it's only going to list the one that is in the active object. It's only going to list the groups that are part of the active object. That's a better way to describe it. So, I can't add it to any group in the blend file. I can only add it to the groups that are in the active object.